A Tenno is only as useful as the mods they wield, and there are many out there to choose from. But what should you be using? What makes a Warframe go from a walking health bar to star-smiting demigod? How do you even begin to put your own builds together rather than search up whatever build happens to be popular on YouTube at the moment, much less how overcomplicated they can be for a new player? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Kurojakku. Lately I've been dragging many fresh baby Tenno into Warframe, not to mention those poor wandering souls left behind by Destiny 2. So with that in mind, I decided now is the perfect time to guide you all on the very basics Warframe fails to teach you. While later episodes of this guide will contain light spoilers, these first few will remain spoiler-free. Join me on this series as we break down all the complicated ins and outs, one step at a time. Like and sub for more Warframe content, and to stick around for future guides I'll be posting over the next few months, more about how you can support the channel at the end. This is the Lotus Guide to the basics of Warframe modding. Hello, I'm definitely the Lotus. Now today's video will focus solely on your Warframe itself. My goal here is to provide you all with both the information you need to truly learn the game rather than just copy a build, but also to suggest something specific for those of you not feeling experimental. Everything you see in the background will be using this very same loadout seen here. This build should easily get you up to and through the quest called the New War, where I will be changing up the loadout for more advanced modding guides in the future. Whether you use the Excalibur I'm using here or another frame entirely, the same general advice should still apply. Let's begin with what your stats do, starting with the very basics. Survivability. Starting with health, this is the red bar at the top of your screen and is the end-all be-all. If this number hits 0, you die. Regardless if you have 1,000 shields or 0, health is all that matters at the end of the day. Do note that health does not naturally recover over time. Armor then works hand in hand with health. You won't see it displayed on yourself in any way outside of the stat screen, though armored enemies have yellow health bars unless you remove it all entirely. Armor simply reduces the incoming damage you take to health. The more armor you have, the less damage you take. I would always recommend having a decent balance of HP and armor if that's the survivability method of choice, as the overall effective HP will be higher, rather than going all in on health just to lose it all very quickly, or all in on armor just to die in 3 shots from a lack of an HP pool. Shields are then the last defensive you can mod for. This blue bar sits over your health and takes the hits first, and even regenerates slowly when not taking damage. To balance this, shields do not gain any damage reduction from armor whatsoever, and instead have what is known as a shield gate, a failsafe meant to protect you from getting one-tapped through your shield. The way this works is by granting you brief invulnerability the moment your shield pops, the duration of such scaling with how much shield you have and what percentage of your max shield capacity you reached prior. This is to stop you from running a fat overshield and trying to spam long shield gates at the same time. Then we have the other half of your build, the Warframe powers themselves. Power strength amplifies the potency and the effects of most Warframe skills. This isn't just to make damage skills stronger, but can also enhance damage reduction effects, armor strips, loot powers, speed buffs, energy batteries, the list goes on and on. If you ever want to know how power is affected by strength, just slap on Intensify and check your tooltips for any green numbers that will indicate whether it is being buffed and how. This sort of idea goes for all Warframe power mods. Power duration increases how long a power will last, assuming it has a duration at all, of course. This is great for making self-buffs last longer and be far less micromanaging, or keeping control effects out for as long as possible. Debuffs such as damage or vulnerability doesn't really need this as much, as the idea is to kill the target in a couple seconds or less anyways. Power range extends the reach of your abilities, making radials far larger, cones stretch further, and even some mobility skills like slash dash lunge even further. It is hard to give an all-encompassing answer as to what range does and does not affect, as some abilities scale instead with affinity range, or simply have a capped range and can't be modified at all, but in general, most things that have a range of some sort can be affected. Power efficiency is, much like how it sounds, reducing the cost of your abilities the more efficiency you have, though there are fringe cases where low efficiency is preferred, whether that's because you have more energy than you know what to do with and can get other stats out of it, or if you benefit directly from skills costing more in some way. More on that later. And last but not least, we have energy regen. By default this is at 0, and while things like Dreamer's Bond or Energy Siphon auras are the simplest ways to give you a passive trickle of energy, this usually won't be enough on a cast heavy frame. But if you're running high duration buff effects or combine this energy income with another source, it might just do the trick. There's a few other stats that I'll glance over and aren't the most important early on. Things like parkour velocity, knockdown immunity, sprint speed, etc. All of these are great to have, but only after your core build is built up and running, and you know what you're doing with them. Since we're in a bit of an early game budget without all those really powerful late game mods, we will just kind of leave that on the back burner for now. Now here I have provided an example build using Excalibur and nothing more than a single Orokin reactor that can easily be snagged from Nightwave with very little effort from the start of the game. I personally would not suggest to any new Tenno to invest more into a frame that is not a prime or released within the last year or two unless you absolutely cannot wait for its prime to be released. While this build is for Excal, the same general rules will apply to most frames this early on. We'll start with a few rules of thumb. Start by slapping an aura mod on for extra capacity. Dreamer's Bond is perfectly fine and can fit on any frame as it has a wild card polarity. I'd then suggest committing 1 to 2 slots for survivability. This can be anything from health and armor combo to more complex tools later on, but for now I'm going to be using Vitality for the added hit points, and Fast Deflection, which makes my shield recharge much quicker, a very underrated and overlooked mod, especially for early game players. Next is to commit 1 to 2 slots for energy economy. We don't have many options early on, so your safest bet is a combination of Flow for increased energy capacity, and Streamline to reduce your casts, though this last one is optional, and may even be ideal to ignore like we mentioned. I will be circling back onto this, however. The rest of your skills can then be dedicated to Warframe abilities. With such basic power mods at hand, I would recommend you just stick to 2 main stats to put all your efforts into. My Excal is focused on strength for all its damage skills, and range to increase the radius of blind while also getting a longer slash dash. The Augur mods have 1 for each power stat and can easily be picked up doing bounties on Cetus, and these come with a nice set bonus of converting energy spent into shields. This is where you may not want power efficiency, as the more costly your skills, the more shields you'll get back. And as Slash Dash makes you invulnerable during its duration, this combined with Fast Deflection and Augur is basically used to get me full shields and thus a full shield gate by extension in a pinch. Just a little example of the kind of complex build crafting you can do around of Warframe's very specific and unique interactions. A frame like Mag, you may want to lean more into range and duration. Bolt perhaps strength and duration, and so on. You'll have far more stats to play with later on, but this will be more than capable to make your frame feel fun and get you to that mid-game where things get a little more interesting. That is all I have for you today. All the footage you've been seeing in the background has been using this very build, and the weapons I've been using will be showcased in the next chapter focused on weapon modding. If you're new, then sub and stick around for next week's guide and all the other things that I have planned in the future. If you're an experienced Tenno and for some bizarre reason, not only did you click on this video but also watched it this far, then do something logical with it and send this to any baby Tenno you know and share any advice you have in the comments below. Just do be mindful of spoilers on this one, we don't want to give anything away. You can support my work further and become a channel member for just $1 a month, putting your name right on this list next to all the others on every video going forward. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time.